It's morphin time. Pterodactyl.
Hi there, this is Datila with Rangers of Wrestling, bringing the Wrestling Time post show. And for tonight, I will be reviewing Impact Wrestling. Alright, so before tonight's show started, we got some news for PW Insider reporting that W. Morrissey has finished his run with Impact Wrestling. And tonight's episode was his final match, at least for now. And he was set to team up against PCO and Moose and Steve Maclin. And let me just start off by saying Impact did one hell of a job booking W. Morrissey. When he came onto the scene, he was a monster heel. He was extremely dominant. And he's ending his run as a babyface. That promo that he cut at the 2300 arena where he said that the last time he was there, he was battling addiction, and now that he's sober, oh my god, that was such an amazing promo. And I highly recommend anybody who hasn't seen it to check it out, because really, W. Morrissey was amazing, and I support wherever W. Morrissey goes, and hopefully where he goes, he's used correctly and he's just made to look good, so I'm really gonna miss W. Morrissey. I think that he had potential to be a world champion in Impact Wrestling. It sucks to see him go, but all the best, and wherever he ends up, again, I hope they treat him well and they use him correctly, because Impact did one hell of a job just rebuilding W. Morrissey. So his match, he teamed up against PCO. He teamed up with PCO to face Steve Maclin and Moose in tonight's main event. Great match, by the way. Last week's match that he had, where he teamed up with Bhupinder Gunhar, amazing. He and Bhupinder Gunhar had such great chemistry, and even before the match, Bhupinder Gunhar said that if W. Morrissey needed him, he would be there. So W. Morrissey, one of my favorite spots in this match, actually I have two. So it was when Moose did the chest chops to Morrissey, and then Morrissey reversed it, put Moose against the ring corner, and then chest chopped him. And then they just kept going back and forth with the chest chops, which I thought was hilarious. And then Morrissey ended up knocking Moose down with the big boot. And then my other favorite part in this match was when Morrissey and PCO crushed Maclin and Moose in different corners. So Moose is in one corner, Maclin's in another corner. Moose, PCO crushes Moose, W. Morrissey crushes Maclin, then they switch, and then Morrissey crushes Moose and Maclin together. I thought that was hilarious. Oh, and how can I forget that double choke slam to Steve Maclin by W. Morrissey and PCO? Incredible. But, his final match, fantastic. Unfortunately, he did lose his final match. While I am sad to see him lose, he still looked good, but it doesn't surprise me that he did lose, as it is customary to put someone over on your way out. And the fact that Maclin pinned him, Maclin's already over. I like Steve Maclin to begin with. So very good main event overall. And I think Maclin and Morrissey were going to be feuding with each other. So it sucks that we don't get to see that feud, but overall, good main event. I'm glad Morrissey put Maclin over, and that was good. All right, so now let's start with this review. So Impact kicked off with Savannah Evans versus Mia Yim with Tasha Steelz at ringside. So this did not go according to Tasha Steelz's plan. She was trying to use Savannah Evans to try to take out Mia Yim, but ultimately, despite interfering in this match, It wasn't enough. Mia Yim was victorious after she hit Savannah Evans with the Eat the Feet. And, Tasha still even grabbed a handful of Mia Yim's hair. And then she got taken out by Jordan Grace, but it still wasn't enough. So then we get a backstage segment with Shark Boy and Eddie Edwards. Shark Boy basically says that Eddie Edwards should show respect for this company. And Eddie Edwards takes offense to that and says that all he has done, it has shown Impact respect. But what has Impact done for him? They've disrespected him. And Shark Boy hasn't been here. He has no idea what's going on. Then the Wildcat Chris Harris shows up to aid Shark Boy and says, and Eddie Edwards says that TNA guys stick together. And then Chris Harris says that even though he's been out of the game for a while, he has no problem throwing down with Eddie Edwards. So interesting segment, I will say. Then afterwards, we get a segment with Rosemary and the Influence, who basically come to cheer her up after Havoc got squashed by Masha Slamovich. So they got her a gift, which is basically like a makeup palette. And Madison basically saying that DK doesn't deserve to be champs, and Rosemary gives her back her palette, saying that she's gonna need it after they bite her head off. So pretty good segment. I wonder what this means for Havoc and DK. I hopefully everything's okay. So next we get Kenny King versus Blake Christian, and if Kenny King lost, Blake Christian will take his place in the Ultimate X match. So last week backstage, Kenny King was basically telling Blake Christian that he needs to prove himself and to show that he belongs here. Basically, it's like that. So Blake Christian tricked Kenny King into putting his spot in the Ultimate X match on the line. So this was a great match. Wow. Very great match. I really liked that at one spot, Blake Christian did a splash to King's back while he was hanging on the rope, which I thought was pretty cool. And then of course it wasn't enough, as Kenny King was victorious after he hit the Royal Flush. So Kenny King stays in the Ultimate X. And speaking of Ultimate X, we found out who the 5th participant in Ultimate X is, and that is none other than Jack Evans. So I'm pretty excited to see who the number 6 spot is, and I'm very curious to see how Jack Evans does in this Ultimate X match. All right, so then we get Matthew Rehwoldt versus Rich Swann, who is the new digital media champion, but he doesn't come out with the belt because I'll be back. So the reason why Rich Swann did not come out with the digital media championship, even though he is digital media champion, is because at the end of his match against Mid Cardona gave him a low blow and ran off with the title. Where he went, I don't know. But anywho, so during this match, Matthew Rehwoldt was just talking smack to Rich Swann, reminding him that he eliminated him from the gauntlet, that he's no digital media champion, that he's not worth it, that he's not worth anything. And I have to say, Matthew Rehwoldt did a really good job at playing up his role as a heel. My favorite spot in this match was when Matthew Rehwoldt was trying to do a test of strength and go like that, and then Rich Swann just started going like that, and he just started going like that just to mess with Matthew Rehwoldt, which I thought was hilarious. And then ultimately Rich Swann wins this match when he hits a Phoenix Splash to Rehwoldt. It's a good match. Then we get an Alicia Edwards segment, who basically in the BTI, she got handed a picture of herself with an X. And then Giselle Shaw shows up and she starts talking about, how this is very artistic and stuff. And then she basically says, no, yeah, Masha's going to kill Alicia. That's what that means. Then we get a Good Brother segment, who they're basically talking about how, they've won major championships everywhere they've gone, on pretty much every continent, according to them. And that the Briscoe brothers don't compare to them. And then Carl Anderson says he's gonna show a video of the top 10 top things that the Good Brothers have done in Impact. And number 10 was their debut at Slammiversary. Number 9 was the first time they won the tag titles. This number 8 was the second time they won the tag titles. And then the funniest thing was that after that, it's like the time they beat the Briscoes, until like they get to number 1, and then they're interrupted by the Briscoes. And Carl Anderson was like, "What are you guys doing here? You guys stepping on our toes." It was just about to show the number 1 moment, which was basically the time they beat the Briscoes. And then a brawl breaks out between both teams. And I just thought this whole segment was hilarious. I really hope the Briscoes do keep their tag titles. It's not that I don't like the Good Brothers. It's just I'm just tired of the tag team division. It's just not as, I don't want to say not as good. It's just, I still feel like, we've seen enough of Bennett by Design in the tag team division, and we've seen enough of the Good Brothers in the tag team division. Let the Briscoe brothers keep the belts longer. Then we get a Josh Alexander segment, who basically says that he doesn't have time to be concerned. He's not shocked that Eric Young did what he did last week, because Eric Young has done everything there is to do in this company. He is a multi-time world champion. He doesn't have time to be concerned or worried, with only a few weeks away from his biggest match of his career. He needs to prepare for him, Dina, and Dorian. And then Dina shows up, tells Josh that he's got one thing wrong and he should be concerned. Then Violent by Design kind of circle him and attack him. And then he basically goes to Scott D'Amore, and D'Amore tells him he understands why he's upset, but he questions whether facing Joe Dorian 10 days before Slammiversary is wise. Josh Alexander says that he needs to take care of Joe Dorian right now for Slammiversary. So next week it's going to be Josh Alexander versus Joe Dorian, which should be a great match. Then we get Mike Bennett and Matt Taven versus Heath and Rhino. So this is another good match. I really like the fact that Mike Bennett gave a thumb to the eye to Heath, and Taven at one point tried to point to the ref that Rhino was in the ring. But I'm so glad Mike Bennett and Matt Taven won this match. I feel like the storyline though with Honor No More keeps repeating. When they debuted it was Team Impact against Honor No More, and now it's Honor No More versus 3 other people as I get to that segment. So it's like, where are they going? Is they going to keep doing this with Honor No More? Is Honor No More actually going to win some gold? I think they should start winning some gold. So I can understand where Eddie Edwards is coming from. All right, so at the end of the match, Honor No More attack Rhino, put a chair around his foot, and then Motor City Machine Guns and Frankie Kazarian come out to aid Rhino. And then Kazarian, as Rhino's being stretchered away, Frankie Kazarian says he hasn't been around in a while, but he's got history with all these guys. I'm very curious to see who the Motor City Machine Guns and Frankie Kazarian pick to be their partners. Right now, I don't have any ideas who they can pick, but I'm very curious to see who they pick. I cannot wait, honestly. And then the main event is Moose and Steve Maclin versus PCO and W. Morrissey, which I already talked about and discussed at the beginning. But just to reiterate, this was W. Morrissey's final match for now with Impact. Steve Maclin pinned him, so he put Steve Maclin over. And Morrissey looked really good in this match. He's looked good throughout his entire Impact run. And wherever he ends up, I support him. And I hope he's used correctly and he looks good wherever it is that they book him. But with that being said, you guys, thank you guys all so much for watching and for your continued support. I have a lot of videos. I put videos up from Double or Nothing and Dynamite this past week. Check all that out. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. And I'll see you guys tomorrow after Friday night. After Rampage. Have a great night. Bye.